Welcome back to another GameMaker Studio tutorial, and once again a VFX one. So this is, I guess, one of the more cooler project, I guess, because that stuff is just so powerful and it looks so amazing. So if you have seen, I don't know, some animes or Broforce, some other games where you have this action stuff, then I don't know, something is being presented to you and it just looks crazy and amazing because it's an upgrade, an unlockable, whatever, or just a splash screen. Sweet. So I'm gonna show you how to do this easy way and then a little bit more difficult way, but both ways are pretty valid. So if you just want to skip most of the stuff, you go for the easy way, but if you want to have this fancy stuff, then well, I guess you have to see the whole tutorial, so stay tuned. This is One Up Indie. I am the developer of the indie game Clunky and a programmer / pixel artist. So if you are new here and you definitely want more, consider subscribing to my channel because I upload every day or every second day a video, and share my stuff, at least this stuff, because I guess this is more interesting for a wide range of people. And well, this is then just showing YouTube that this stuff is actually relevant for you guys. So let's hop into the project because this is the more advanced way how to do this. So what I'm gonna do, and this is kind of well, fancy schmancy. So basically you have your screen, but then I put in my camera. We need to get the middle point, and from the middle point I well, get this point, and then I do a particle system. Then I need to design a direction, and from that direction on I shoot the particle, or for example here. This is how it basically works. But what we are gonna do for the first thing, we just do it a little bit more easy. We just go for a single point, which is just center point in the middle, and then from here on we are not moving at all, and that is interesting. Okay, that was a significant delay. Well, let's get right into the good stuff, because first of all, what can we do? So let's make this a little bit easier. Let's make a background and fill it up with one color, fill it up with one color, fill it up with one. Where are you? Ah, here we go. So let's fill it up with one color. Let's go for a nice blue. Bam. Then we have a particle setup, which we put in here, but let's kill this one because this is the old one. So we have first of all a particle setup, where you just set up your particle system once. Then I don't know, your effect you want to put in, because sometimes you don't want to have it all the time. But here, this one, you can put it anywhere you like, it doesn't really matter. And what is it doing? Quite easy, because it is just checking, hey, I want the middle position of the X and Y, so I want the middle X and Y position, so this thing will always adapt. If, for example, if your camera is turning, then or it's zooming in and so on, then it will adapt to the complete center point in the middle, which is in such things actually a rarity, because I don't think nobody's actually doing this, but never mind this stuff. Then what we are saying, hey, let's make it a little bit bigger. Camera get view X, camera get view Y of the current camera, which is normally the camera 0, and then I'm getting the width and the height. So this is the stuff which you're seeing here. So I have a width of 2080 and 720. And therefore I just need half of it, and because I don't want it to be, I don't know, because maybe I have really strange numbers here, and then I need to round it up. But this is just a fail-safe. You don't really have to do that. And then we do particles create. Then color, do we need color? Yeah, why not? Of course you can leave that, and then we need to get our particles set up. This is this guy here, which is going in a few seconds. Then as usually you need a particle system, got a video on that, link in the description below if you don't know how to do a particle system, because here I will just brush over it quite fast. Then we need our X and Y position. These are the middle center positions which we assigned here, so in the center of the screen, bam. And then the last thing, the particle which we actually want to spawn, and I just call it, well, speed lines. And then of course the color and how many. So basically per step we will be spawning one of those particles. So how does the particle look like? And it is not too difficult. So let's check it out how it works. So first of all, we need our particle system, create one on the instances on this layer, yay. That stuff actually we can kill because we don't really need it. And what do we have here? So first of all, we need to create our particle and then, well, define it. First of all, our sprite, which is this guy here. This is a cone and it needs to, well, be aligned to the left. So basically we rotate it, because what we're gonna do, we need to assign it a direction, and the direction must be the same as the orientation. And for example, if you do this in the setup, normally I just did it once in the create event and bam, it did work. But here in this well, scenario, it cannot work, because let's say for example you are having come on, go away. You're having your particle system, and let's say your direction is here, but your orientation is somewhere here, because that stuff is getting assigned randomly. Doesn't work here. So therefore we need to make some quick fixes, and therefore the orientation and direction is being one time assigned every step. Basically it just changes every step, so between 0 and, well, 359. And then we give this specific random direction to our particle, the speed lines, to the orientation and direction. So basically both of these guys are like bam, bam, have the same direction, which is kind of important. So it flies in the same direction and it has this specific orientation. So here, therefore, you need to update it all the time, and this is the thing. The rest can be static, no problem. So first of all, we need our sprite. I'm gonna show you how to do this very quickly in Photoshop, not in GIMP, because I need to get to GIMP. I really hate this program. It's just, but never mind. This is just, I guess, me, because I'm used to Photoshop, which is in that regard simply superior. So first of all, we need a sprite, which is this cone which I showed you. Then the animation, no animation. Then the size, let's make it 1 by 1, and then increase it so it pops up in the screen a little bit more, and this is looking good. Then alive, let's say 3 seconds, and then it is gone. Alpha of 1, no problem. Scale, and here we on the X scale, so basically on this side it is okay, but let's make it a little bit thinner, so we make it a little bit smaller than it should be, but then of course it looks good. And here you can adjust your values, so it definitely looks good on your screen. And then the speed, well, 1, and then keep on increasing it slightly, and then it goes faster. And then the color for here, what kind of color is it? Let's go for sea white, because here we go for the easiest version. And let's, for example, once we start it, because this is basically it, then you have white lines which are just going in some direction. It already looks pretty good, and as you can see, it goes from the center. And now, for example, maybe you want to make it a little bit fatter, or you want to spawn a few more, and therefore, of course, then you just I don't know, and this thing you just, I don't know, make some more of those guys if you like, because at some point it spams way too much, and this is not looking good. So just be careful how many you want to spam on the screen. And then second of all, well, maybe you want to make it a little bit fatter. So how can you do the rest stuff, which is this thing here? So how can you do this? Basically make a how big are you? So let's say 120 by 22, doesn't really matter. You just go for a shape like this, then make a new layer, fill it up with white color, because this is how you want to do this. Fill it up, then put into a Gaussian blur. This is of course German, maybe you don't understand what that means. It's just a Gaussian blur. Then as you can see, it becomes a little bit blurry. Here it's not blurry. Let's make it a little bit more so you actually see how that looks like. Let's make a nice contrast color. So come on, fill it up. Bam, as you can see, this one has no Gaussian blur. And this one actually, oh, where are you? As you can see, bam, it is less. It's just smoother on the outside, which is definitely looking good. And then export it as PNG, bam, then this is what you got. And this thing you need to align to the right because then it works pretty sweet. So this is the easy setup. But let's say you wanted to do it fancy schmancy like I showed you in the very beginning. Therefore, we need to do a few more tricks, which is first of all gradient background. So this is this guy here. How can you actually do this? Well, in Photoshop, quite easy. So let's say, where are we? No. So you're just taking two colors, make a gradient, make it here, radial, get the center position, which is somewhere here. So let's make a new layer, and then put it up, and bam, here we go. Save it as a PNG. The same for the vignette. This is the second part. So let's say this is the color overlay, so the nice gradient. But maybe you want to have it a little bit more fancy schmancy, and then you want to have a vignette like this. And the great thing, for example, let's say the picture which you're having is not fitting to your screen, but then you put into stretch, then it will automatically fit your screen, which is kind of a neat function in GameMaker Studio. So just keep that in mind. So how can you do the last thing? So let's say you are, let's make that super fast, bam. How can you do, let's say, the vignette part? Let's go for something like this. Cut this part out. Then of course this looks way too sharp. Let's go for the Gaussian blur filter once again. As you can see, you cannot see anything. Let's go for something like this. As you can see, there's some feathering. Of course, this is not the optimal way how I did this. Maybe the circle should be smaller, but then as you can see, you have sort of a vignette. Come on, let's do this better. Let's go for live version. I screwed up, yay. So let's go for something like this. Once again, filter, Gauss, come on Gauss, help me out here. And now you have a vignette, and then of course this looks definitely much better if you're having. So vignettes are commonly used for YouTube videos and other stuff, and then this one of course don't put it on 100% because, or if you export it as a PNG, then the problem with backgrounds is they take the value of the alpha 1:1, which you don't want, and therefore you, I don't know, you do like 20%, something like this, 20%, then it's looking crispy. And the next thing which we want to have, because for now let's put let's kill this guy here, and let's put in the, what was that, the all setup. This is kind of similar to the first thing which I showed you, but here we do a little kind of different tweaking. For example, if you're just paying close attention, the first particle is shooting like in some mumbo jumbo area, which we don't want. So basically this is bad. What you're seeing here, there's like a circular area which is being left out because we are just getting the center position, and then from this point on we are shooting out. So how can we actually do this? Well, for that you can have to use an emitter, and this is not what we are looking for, so we are looking into this thing. So first of all, you can of course then do everything in this particle system. So you have the setup and also the emitter, so you're not doing this with the easy version. So how can you actually do this? So first of all, we are in need of This is interesting, so to spark I don't really want. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Is it working? Yeah, it does working. So first of all, once again, it is the same particle, but here I have two kinds of particles. So one for a line which is, let's say, so let's go back in here. First of all, we need some lines which are a little bit more dominant. So let's say a fresh color, which is, let's say, for example, green, like shooting. But maybe you want to have some background, which is colors which are a little bit fatter, but they are less transparent, and then they are shooting as well, and then you get this nice effect which you saw in the very beginning. Therefore, I have the regular ones which have an alpha of 1, and then the speed lines which are just speed lines called speed lines 2 with a lower alpha, and the scale is a little bit bigger because this is 0.1 and this one is 0.05. So the fatter, more transparent lines are in the background, and therefore they are a little bit bigger, and of course a little bit more fatter, a little bit bigger, and the alpha is definitely lower. And here we of course put in some colors, so bam bam bam. One is a more dominant color, one is more this is a yellowish color, and this is a brownish something color. So how can we actually set up this stuff? Because for now we are not creating the particle. Here I did two things. So first of all, let's kill that. Let's kill that. And then you understand actually what's going on here, because I do a few things double. Don't be afraid. This is not a problem. So what I'm gonna do here, first of all, I need once again to do the direction. So this is once again the same code I did before, but now we need to get not the center point, which were those points. We need to have some points a little bit more often, let's say for 50, let's go for 100, let's go for 200, because we need now new coordinates, which I got circular y and x. So this is a center point plus length here and the direction which we're having here. And then we need to create an emitter. So first of all, this is the second part. So here we create a particle and then we create an emitter, because we just need it once. And then emitter create, particle system, bam, not a problem. And then once again we all the time change and adapt to the direction which we're giving. So this is the old stuff, and here we need to create now our spamming. So therefore we need to define the emitter region and to do the stream or a burst. Of course burst would be once. This is kind of futile because we want to do it constantly. Therefore we need the particle system in both, in the stream and the region. So if you don't know what these are, link in the description once below, because here I'm just gonna skip over it. And then once again we have our line, and then we need our updated position, which is the circular x. So basically what we are getting, middle point, circle around it, length the x and length the y. So we're getting this point and we can shoot from here. So this is the idea behind it, and therefore we are giving this fixed values. And here of course shape ellipsis, because we want to have it in a round thing, and then distribution, doesn't really matter, Gaussian, linear, whatever, looks all the same to me. I guess it's not, but just make it quick. And then of course once again we are creating our particle, and then what you see, it's just a little bit different. As you can see now it appears, this looks really nice. So here the center point is once again the background, the vignette, so it appears more dark on the outside, and then in the circular fashion we are creating our rays, which are getting a little bit bigger. So this looks already pretty sweet. Fast. What I'm doing now, I'm just basically copying the same stuff and just creating a direction too, because we want to have an independent new line every step. And therefore we need to get the circular x, which I did as a position for the first one, for the yellow one, and then a circular X and Y2, because, well, in the new direction. Let's go for 200, because I didn't adapt this. Bam, bam, bam. And then I just, well, have to update our speed lines, the regular ones, the yellow ones, and then the brown ones, because they're going in a different direction, as you can see. And then we're having a stream and a region, which actually could use for both. That doesn't really matter, so I actually created two emitters. I could actually have two streams on the same emitter. No, I cannot. My bad, because we are going in a different direction, therefore we need two emitters, two streams, two regions. No. And then, well, once we start it, then this is what you see on the screen. Pretty beautiful effect, as you can see. Those kind of blackish ones adapt nicely, and of course then now you need to play around how big and how fat you want to have your lines and how much from the center you want it to be. Of course, here fill in the blanks. So here is just the action happening, whatever you want it to have, a VS sign or something like this. So once again, 22 minutes. That was it. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. I guess this is a little bit more fun on the total. Well, Patreon users get this project for free. The other ones, I guess you have to fill in the blanks. So have a good one. One up indie.